I'm Grock, you worthless degenerate. Keep watching to the end to get my completely deranged, balls to the wall, drenched, unhinged review on this episode.
Heidi-ho, Jeeper, we're back. It's getting to be a weekly thing here, and it's getting to be a weekly thing here with Josh. Today, Josh and I are going to talk about honor badges. And the reason for that is, you can probably guess, is the 250th year USA July 4th God Bless America honor badge that you don't have to go any place to get. You don't have to check in from a trail. I bet you.
Badges?
Yeah.
We don't need no stinking badges.
I bet you don't even have to be in America to sign up for this honor badge.
Yeah, right. Well, I'd be curious, honestly. We got to send a letter out to Jeep, a sternly worded letter about, just how many of these have you shipped outside of the U.S. border?
Yeah, it's Australia or China.
Well, they're probably drop shipping them from Taiwan anyway, so.
Oh, very true. And then we're going to talk about fender flares, because, everybody wants them. That makes your rig look really off-roady, even if you don't go off-road. But there's some things about fender flares that you may not have thought of. All right, Josh, let's talk about it. We've already started talking a little bit about the honor badges. I think that the honor badges are absolutely wonderful. I'm not a big fan of plastering them all over my Jeep.
Okay. Yes and no. I mean, okay. Some of the more iconic trails, the Rubicon, Moab and some of the trails out in Moab and stuff. Yes, maybe to a certain extent. Okay. But there's trails up here in Oregon that they gave honor badges to. And I'm like, what the actual really for that?
Yep.
And it's just like, okay, I know they're trying to be inclusive and all that. Well, we can't leave out Oregon. They got a lot of Jeeps in Oregon. So, I get it to a certain extent. But like we've always said, Jeep is not one to be to leave a special edition or something undone. They just love any chance they can for merchandising and extras and little things like that. And of course, they're going to do a 250th badge. I mean, the whole 12 for 12 thing that was lining right up to it, all that. I wish they would have done something else. This is nice. It's a token, but that's, I think, all it is a token. Like I said a few weeks ago, I think Jeep dropped the ball on the 250th anniversary. It was a little bit like a day late, $1 short type of thing. Somebody forgot, didn't get the memo, and it's, we've got this giant, huge, memorial thing coming up, huge anniversary. We need to make a big deal about it. Scramble, scramble, scramble. What can we come up with really quick? Oh, here, let's just out a badge really quick. That'll keep them happy. So I don't know. It's to me, it's not enough. It's an appeasement at best, and I think that they could have done a lot better. Well, but that's just me. That's my 2 cents.
Stellantis is a European-based company, isn't it? The Fiat 500 and that turned into the
I know,
the
but
Renegade.
Jeep has executive level personnel.
Well, maybe they're scared.
In charge of North America. Now whether or not those people are actually American or not, I don't know. Right. I know that Jeep has kind of shuffled the deck a little bit when it comes to their executives, and especially their CEOs and CFOs and whatnot over the years. Head of the North American brand, I think, has changed seats a couple of times over the last 5 or 10 years. So who is in charge? That's a good question, actually. So maybe that's part of the problem is we don't know who's in charge. Maybe the left hand ain't talking to the right hand, and it was a scramble at the last minute to try and come up with something that will appease Americans as far as the 250th anniversary of our country goes. Mm-hmm. Jeep, you fell short. I'm sorry.
So I know that your Jeep has been down for a few years now because of your financial situation and having to leave the show so you could get a second job. That certainly didn't mean that there was going to be much money left over for building up your XJ or taking it off-road even. But did you, when you were going off-road there in Oregon, were you signing up for honor badges? Did you ever get any honor badges?
No, because I've been wheeling these trails for years, if not decades. And so it was like, why am I going to, submit something? I got videos on my YouTube channel of these trails, of me on these trails. So it's not like I need proof or any kind of validation or anything like that. And besides, I've never been one for a whole lot of stickers or badges or putting things on the outside of Jeeps that don't necessarily belong or have a function.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're not a sticker person at all.
No, honestly, the only stickers that are on the outside of my Jeep are the Jeep Talk Show stickers, the big Jeep Talk Show stickers. So, yeah, if I were going to do anything, it's going to be like a wrap or something like that. So, it's just badges have never really been my thing. Stickers have never really been my thing. So it's not something that you're going to find on the outside of my Jeep. That being said, I do have a couple of the honor badges sitting on my desk in my studio, next to a bunch of all my other Jeep stuff. So, I do have a couple. They're just never going to find themselves on the outside of my Jeep.
I like the honor badges. They're made well. They're neat. It's kind of a remembrance of someplace that you were at. I just don't see them. I just don't see myself sticking them on the outside of my Jeep. I would much rather have them, I really like the ones that have those hot heads that go over in the Freedom panels, and then people will stick them to the hot heads that just right there above. Some people have put them on the hood on the inside, so when you raise the hood up, you can see the stickers and the badges, which I think that's really cool too.
That's where I've got some stickers and stuff, is on the inside of the hood. And so when you open up the hood, and I've got some rather next level modifications going on in the engine compartment anyways, so it's a point where you want to kind of show some stuff off anyways. And I think historically, I've always thought the best place for stickers on a Jeep is on the underside of the hood.
Yeah. Oh, and there's some Wrangler owners out there that put all the badges and stuff on the tailgate on the inside. Again, when you open the tailgate for something, then you see the badges. Okay. I think that's a really
new one for me. I haven't seen that one yet at any of the shows or anything like that. Out here in the Pacific Northwest, it seems to be, everybody wants to show off the stickers and the badges, and so it's all about the fenders and the side windows and stuff like that as far as badge and sticker locations go, respectively.
I think, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but I think that it may have a lot to do with I'm brain farting on it. Not Toledo Jeep Fest. There's another Jeep Fest, a big one, coming up down in, is it Georgia or something? Justin, I can't remember the name of the big event. And I get the feeling, and there's so much of that event is you park your Jeep, you walk around at the vendors, you look at things, and then the other big thing to do is the main drag out there. You drive up and down the drag at night with your lights and your loud music, and of course, your stickers and your honor badges. I think that's what the honor badges represent the most, is not on the trail, but when you're out and doing nothing except being seen.
That's exactly.
Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's you're right. It's a, hey, look at me, look what I've done, look where I've been, and the only time that's ever going to actually happen is either in the parking lot at the mall, the grocery store, or at the car meet, at the car show. And so whether it's an off-road show, rigs and coffee type of thing, or, it's lunch on the trail.
Yeah.
Lunch on the trail, and it's like everybody's looking around, kind of checking out each other's Jeeps, and we got some hoods open, maybe letting the engines cool off a little bit. Everybody's sort of showing off. And that's where that stuff comes in. You're showing off to other Jeepers in those situations and stuff. And there's not too many of those. I guarantee you, there's not too many of us who are, rubbernecking and gawking at the Jeep next to us on the freeway as we're doing 75 miles an hour on our way to the store or something like that. What badges are those? What's he got over there? Okay, he's got 6 of them. I've only got 5. What's that one? And pretty soon, you're up against the barrier, and Jersey barrier is up against the side of the Jeep, and so no, there's time, place, and manner. That's one of my favorite 3 words: time, place, and manner.
Yeah.
And
whenever
you're staring at certainly would fall into that category.
When you're staring at the Jeep next to you, you're trying to see if there's any smoke or anything that will identify that the noise is coming from their Jeep and not yours. Yeah, and again, I don't want to make anybody that really enjoys putting the badges on their Jeep. And there's some folks, Zabo, the 18 carrier pilot, he has a bunch of honor badges on his very highly modified Jeep GLU. Beautiful, beautiful rig, and he does a lot of serious off-roading, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go along with us. We just have an opinion that we're sharing with you. Some of you are going to agree. Some of you are going to vehemently disagree, and we'd love to hear from you. But my point here is that
I think
it's okay. I think that whenever you show those things off, especially at events where you're parking your Jeep, you are showing them off to people that don't have a Jeep or just got a Jeep and don't know what they're looking at. It's just like, oh, wow, this is part of the Jeep lore. This is what it means to be a real Jeeper.
Well, you say that sort of thing, and I was going to say this sort of falls under the umbrella of, and I'm going to go very cliche here for a second. It's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but I want to understand.
The badges.
And now I understand better because the Jeep thing is honor badges. Because look at them; they're all over this Jeep. Yeah. It's the people that are curious, because so many people are very curious about Jeeps, especially of the off-road variety. I've said it many, many times. Everybody at some point in their life wants an off-road capable Jeep, and they just don't do it. And we may have people listening to this show because they love the idea of having a Jeep, but it just it's not practical. Well, hell no, it's not practical. Dating a stripper is not practical, but it's fun.
Well, boy, is it fun. Yeah. No, but honestly, some of I have some great friendships that have been developed because of trail time. And it's like one of my good friends, Brandon. He's a bit younger than me, and we met through the forums back when those were popular, before the Jeep world kind of went to social media. And took him out on his first wheeling trip. He had never really been off road before, outside of let's go through that construction site over here and doing some illegal in town.
Yeah.
But outside of that kind of thing, had never been on a trail, never had to worry about line selection and tire placement and things like that.
No,
and so
you look for cops is what you were looking for.
And so going out there and exposing him to this for the first time and experiencing this with him, develops this sort of rapport and this connection that not too many other things can develop like that. And so when you're in a situation like, it's not like Stockholm syndrome, but it's like when two people share not a traumatic experience, but something, along these lines. I mean, you're taking your second largest investment in your life into a situation where it can go horribly wrong.
Yep.
And most people who have never really been in an off-camber situation before will see that screaming at them at 100 miles an hour, even though you're only doing 2.5. And so it's as soon as you get into that off camber and you start getting to those pucker situations and you're developing your awareness of your own abilities as an off-road driver and pushing those boundaries and stuff, when you're doing that with somebody, you're going to be developing a connection and a friendship and something that's going to last for a very, very long time. And the Jeep world just opens up that door wide for all of that to happen with all kinds of people. And I think it's just awesome.
Yeah. I like it whenever you take a newbie with you and they ask you, should this cushion be stuck to my ass? Because it's not coming off. No, just relax. It's a pucker factor.
The pucker will decrease.
All right. So did you want to get into you?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I've got one. Break. Remind me really quick what we were going to be talking about on the I'm sorry, because I didn't write it down.
Honor badges.
Oh, the honor badge. Okay.
Unless you got something else you want to talk about. I just figured it would dovetail
well. That'll work.
Oh, let me say it because it's not break. I always mess up with break. Edit. Hang on. Edit.
So Tony, it's funny you bring up the whole honor badges thing, because this is one thing that sort of, as you could probably have told as we were getting into the conversation, it's not exactly something that I find fond and I think dearly of. Obviously, I've only got a few honor badges myself, and I certainly don't put them on my Jeep. And look, we don't want to shame the people out there, but I see Jeeps around here frequently in my neck of the woods who have way more honor badges than I believe that they should. And it's like, there's no way that you have been to 37 trails out here in your stock Jeep. Okay, you've got a 2-inch budget boost lip. You don't even have a spare tire carrier, and you're out here with almost zero armor at all whatsoever. And you're going to try and convince me that you've done 37 trails and have sent in for the badges and all of that sort of stuff. Oh, I believe that you sent in for the badges unless you bought the entire batch off of eBay from some seller who was like, here, I got these from my ex-boyfriend. You can have them now too. And it's like, no, okay, I'm not buying it. All right. Now, if you've got a rig that I can clearly see that you've invested $20,000, $30,000 in, it's a very capable off-road rig. Perhaps it's something that maybe never even sees the pavement. Oh, that's definitely a trailered off-road rig. Oh, look at him. He's got 37 off-road badges. Well, yeah. Well, no he does. Look at him. Look at that Jeep. Yeah, okay, I believe that. But no, you on your freaking, 32 all-terrains, with all these badges on it and not a single spot of armor? Nah, I'm not buying it. So all of you out there who are posers, you.
We did a show about stolen valor, and I didn't want to cheapen the people.
Good one.
Yeah, I didn't want to cheapen the people that were in the military and had these people pretend that they were higher ranks or served in the military.
Dude, those videos me off to know. And I see these videos of stolen valor online, and oh my God, it gets under my skin like you would not believe. And it pisses me off. So stolen valor, military, I mean, that's one thing. There's a line in the sand that you do not cross. Right behind that is the Jeep honor badge line.
There you go. You get it. Where you just, I think one of the things I was talking about is like you buy a Jeep from somebody that has a bunch of honor badges on it, and they didn't want to pry them off and pull the paint with it. And now they buy a Jeep that's fully outfitted with every freaking trail in the United States, maybe a few in Canada if they have them for Canada. And now,
see that, then we get into the whole built not bought thing, and yeah, I mean that sort of ties into that umbrella as well. And so yeah, no, I 100% agree.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this next one real quick. There you go. I was going to get you to adjust your camera. Edit. All right, let's get into this next one. I think this will be a cheerier subject, and it's kind of a cautionary tale that you may not realize until after you do it, and then you go, "What the hell is this?" And then you think about it and go, "Oh, that makes sense." Replacing your fender flares, it could be on your Cherokee, your XJ, your TJ, your CJ, a JL, or a JT Gladiator. It's all of them. So I would love to have some aftermarket fender flares on my Gladiator, so I could increase the distance between the top of the tire and where the fender would rub. I mean, I have a Gladiator Sport S, so I don't have that extra 2 inches that like the Rubicon fender flares have. So it's easily solvable because there's various places. I love the Motobelt ones, but the problem with almost all the fender flares out there is they're narrow. Narrow is cool. It allows you easier to get up on obstacles and stuff. Not so cool when it's raining. You're not going to lose control, but you may not see either, because there's this thing called rooster tail that happens on the front.
Yeah, especially when you get into flares. If you've got a substantial amount of either body lift or suspension lift, and there's already a fair amount of gap between the top of the tire and the inner fender well or the fender itself, when you are on the road and you're turning the wheel, the outside of the wheel starts to extend past the edge of the fender, and all of a sudden you see this new rooster tail of water come flying up past your mirror, and it's like, where the hell is that coming from? Oh, that's coming from me. And I've got that problem on my XJ because and a lot of us do when you get into lifts and you get into different aftermarket wheel and tire combinations. You get into offsets and back spacing and maybe even wheel spacers, things like that. You end up with a situation where part, if not a good amount, of your tires are sticking out past the fender, the edge of the fender. And as you drive in water, well, most of that tire is supposed to catch the spray from the water and trap it inside the fender well and of course deal with it that way. Well, when your tire is sticking out past the fender, Well, where's that water going to go? Straight up in the air, all over the side of your body. And if your window is down, you're going to get a shower.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know if you have this, but here in Southeast Texas, Houston area, we have subdivisions and stuff, and it used to really piss me off back whenever I actually would wash my car, where you'd pull into a subdivision and they've got the sprinklers going for all the little flowers and stuff that they plant next to the sign for the subdivision. I mean, bright sunny day, I've cleaned my car, and now I'm driving through these water puddles because they're not modulating the water.
Oh.
And now I'm getting all this, it's minor, but it's still, you go to the trouble of cleaning your car. Now, that's not an issue with my Jeep, but if I'm driving my Jeep with the doors off,
yeah, the whole doorless thing puts a whole new spin on fender flare selection. Yeah, no doubt. And that's one thing where doing your homework, and God, I've said this so many times over the years, doing your research can pay dividends like you won't believe when it comes to selecting the aftermarket gear that you're going to put on your Jeep. Any kind of modification that you're going to do to the Jeep, whether it's bolt-on or whether it's something more serious than that, it's worthwhile to spend some time reading the reviews and what people think and trying to find other people out there who have a similar setup to you, who are running the same sort of thing that you're looking at, and what they have to say about it. And you may find it's 3 or 4 reviews out of these 20, and they're all saying the same thing. Man, I wish I wouldn't have bought these because of this. Right. And it could be something as simple as the spray, coming up. They don't cover the tire like I thought they would. I get this a lot. I see this a lot with the metal cloak fenders, because they have that big high peak at the top of them. They got that triangular sort of look to them. The metal cloak fenders, they're metal fenders and all that. They look phenomenal. They perform amazing. But one of the things they don't do very well is guard your face from the tire spray from the front as you drive down a wet road. And this goes doubly so when you're off road, when you're driving, with doors off, or there's any kind of mud on the trail and stuff like that. Dude, these things come into play big time. So check out your fender flare selection. If this is something that you're in the market for, do a lot of research, do a lot of homework, make sure you read those reviews, and look at the fitment, and make sure that this is something that's going to work for you, for your needs, and doesn't have any kind of, some side effects, if you will.
Right. No modification goes unpunished. We always say that here. I don't know.
That's a good one.
I haven't seen it a lot online, and I think it's still a thing. Foot pegs. So if you've got foot pegs and you got your foot hanging out the side of your Jeep, getting that little breeze up through the cargo shorts, always making the personal equipment cooler. It's really nice until the tire picks up a pebble and launches
Smack!
it. Well, even if it doesn't hit you in the head, just the leg, or it goes where the air is going. You go,
right off the short leg, yeah.
right off the short. So, keep this in mind. We're not saying it happens all the time. I'm not saying it has never even happened to me, but it can happen. Sometimes you get a little sharp pain, and then you realize it was something that you drove over, and the rock came up and hit you. It might be a tiny little BB size thing, but depending on the force that comes at you, yeah. It's not a bad idea to wear some sort of sunglasses to protect your eyes. Anytime you're doorless, whether you've got fender flares covering or not. So just keep that in mind. I was doing a search today. I was talking to somebody on our Discord server who was talking about his fender flares on his Gladiator fading, and I'm like, that's easily fixed. You just replace them.
Dude, that's an old hat for us. God, I can't remember how many hours we've spent in discussion about how to bring back the luster and the blackness of your fender flares.
Right. So, but it's just an excuse to upgrade. But I mean, I'd like to upgrade, but I don't want the rooster tails. I don't want all the other associated situations that come with narrow fenders. I mean, fender flares, they look phenomenal. Like I said earlier, I really like the Moto-Built stuff, but they're like 2 inches wide at the front.
Yeah. See that there's a couple guys out here that are running those too. And for me, they look like these such small, short little fenders. There's so much. I mean, there's almost no tire at all underneath the fender flare.
Right.
And so it gives this froggy look to the Jeep. It makes the tub look a little bit more narrow. It kind of reminds me of some of those builds that you see where the guys have like no fender flares at all, and they've got full width axles under their Jeeps. And, you've got, the tire is, the inside of the tire is 1.5 feet away from the side of the Jeep. And it's just like, okay, you're super capable. I love the flex that you're getting, but it looks weird. I don't know. I don't believe that the tires need to be completely inside your fender flare.
No.
And I don't believe that your fender flares need to be 2 feet wide in order to cover all of your tire if you're running offsets or if you're running spacers or if you're running full width axles or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. A certain bit of protrusion, I think, is allowed and expected, and if anything else, enhances the look of the Jeep.
Yeah, the stance.
And so there's certainly a balance point that comes into play. How much of the tire, and honestly, this is another thing that we should probably bring up, is state laws, local and state laws. So out here in Oregon, and I've gotten a fender flare ticket before because it was the only thing that he could get me for at the end of the day. But the guy thought he was trying to get me for doing like 15 over the posted speed limit, which would have mean that I was doing like 65 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour. And this is when I was coming down the mountain with a sheared off track bar bracket. And I'm like, I've got death wobble like nobody would believe.
Oh, I remember
anything over 35 miles an hour. I'm almost coasting down the mountain with my hazards on, and the state patrol whips a bit and pulls me over because he swears that I was doing over the speed limit. I was like, listen, Jack, let me show you something here. Get out of the Jeep and show him how much damage and carnage is done on the front of my Jeep, and trying to explain to him, suspension geometry and shear forces and stuff like that. And it was like trying to explain lockers to a deer caught in the headlights. I mean, the guy had no grasp of understanding whatsoever. And at the end of the day, all he could get me for was a fender flare violation. So look, these fender flare violations do exist. They will happen in your state. Whether or not your state patrol or local sheriff's department or police department would actually enforce them is entirely up to what kind of day they're having. But that being said, you need to educate yourself and at least find out what the laws are and how much of your tire is allowed to protrude past the fender flare, because that is a thing and you can get ticketed for it. And at least here in Oregon, it's not a cheap ticket.
I think it was only 2-3 years ago that Pennsylvania made it legal to take the doors off. So there was there was literally a state where you could not take the doors off your Jeep.
Oh, hell no. If I was Jeep official, I would have sent a cease and desist to the legislature a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So look, this is a built-in feature of our vehicles, and we've already sold 1.5 million of them in your state alone over the last 75 years. So yeah, you can F off with that whole rule.
But Jeep Jamboree USA, when you go to the event as an attendee and do the trails, you can actually get a badge for Jeep Jamborees now, too. So there's a lot of badges. This is one of the first ones that I'm aware of. I think they had one other, they've got some other badges that you can earn by doing multiple trails and different things, but this one was unique. But it is the 250th year of America, and I thought it was pretty cool. The problem was their server crashed, and they couldn't handle the traffic, and so apparently it's so popular that everybody was trying to get on, and you check in and it wouldn't ever let you check in. And you tried about 30 times and maybe you get checked in, but it said you can't go further. You're going to have to wait. But the next day it allowed me to go in and enter my address, and I've got one on the way whenever they get them made. And I'm not holding my breath, probably 6 months from now, but I think it's cool. I mean, I don't mind having a virtual badge, but no, you're not earning it. It's just a celebration of the USA.
Right. Well, I mean, if that's the case, shouldn't there be a bunch of different badges that doesn't really have anything to do with going to a destination?
We won every 250 years.
Where was it in the bicentennial? Damn it! I was there in 1976.
Didn't exist.
Yeah, I think it was more or less just a way to mark the moment. I mean, no different than the 250 Jeep that they have too.
They also had the limited edition Jurassic Park one tied in with the movie promo.
Yeah,
like 100, I think.
Well, and if you think about it, I mean, it's also for people that don't didn't have the badge, honor badge thing, the app or whatever, and they weren't even doing it.
Right.
To hear about an opportunity to get a badge for their Jeep, you don't have to do nothing, you just get it. It gets you to enroll in the program. And now you're going to be staring at it with, oh my God, there's a trail 100 miles away, 50 miles away, 500 miles away. It's going to get people thinking about possibly going out and doing something.
Do you think it actually could get people off road in their Jeep?
I think it's possible. I mean, not everybody, but I think in some cases, yeah.
All right. I see we've got Travis. Travis, are you ready to talk? You're muted there. So we're talking about the new Jeep Honor Badge, the 250th America Honor Badge, and I'm asking, is this the new participation trophy? Since you don't got to be there, I don't even think you have to be an American, damn it.
I think you're talking to Dan, not Travis.
No, I hear him talking. I was muted, and then I unmuted myself because I'm trying to get my background picture because, I got the badge. I signed up for it. I think what we were just saying, it does open up a door to people that were unaware that that's there. When you go through a Jeep in the back, in the salesmen truly don't share a lot of the information. A lot of the off-roaders, unless you take the time to go off-road, you may have zero knowledge of this.
Why pitch it to 95 out of 100 that aren't going to do it?
It's still, it is a marketing ploy, but the fact is it's a marketing ploy. And if none of y'all saw Jeep's, official post on it, on how they failed, I saw it shortly after it was, up and live, but it was that comedian girl that did a bunch of the other ads, but she was on there like on how they failed and didn't get it done. But, do I have my badges all over my Jeep? No. Do I care that anybody else sees them? No. Do I still earn them with the honor system on, hey, I completed this trail? Yeah, I'm going to do it. And in that aspect, I like it. It is a lot of people. That's the thing with honor. How many people in the world now are going to take advantage of something or do something they didn't do? This is getting the Jeep name out, getting people involved in their website, getting people, it's marketing. In that aspect, it's a good thing. They got more people to see. The amount of social media that I saw with everybody complaining about the failure was unbelievable. And if you were a Jeeper or not a Jeeper, you 100% witnessed that from someone. Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, it's great marketing. You're going to, if you fail, you still market, and that's it.
All right.
People successfully got it.
Yeah. So I know you do wheeling with Waylon online. Yeah. Does Waylon have a Doghouse? Because I'm thinking honor badges on the Doghouse, because he's really the one that's out there doing the hard work.
He
not drowning.
Alive, just jumping under my arm every time I'm taking a bad line. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to get you because you're taking the wrong line." He doesn't have a dog. I mean, he's got a crate, but it's open door.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
No,
you should take the dog with you. Don't ship that dog. That's not right.
He's always with me in the Jeep, regardless. I mean, he's with me everywhere I can. If I got to get on a plane, that's the one thing I haven't done yet. But if I'm by vehicle, he's with me always. And he's laying down, which I've got a screen married. But yeah, he's actually.
He looks like he's gotten bigger.
He's 42 pounds. He's putting weight back on after a surgery, after he decides to eat rubber. But
yeah, you started feeding him because he didn't have to eat balloons anymore. All right, let's go over to Steve O. Steve O, are you? Did you sign up for a participation trophy, the America's 250th Jeep Honor Badge?
I did. I was up because it was 11 o'clock Central, so 12 o'clock Eastern. So I was up about 11:30. After half hour, I said, "Nuts to this!" I said, "I'm going to bed." I mean, it was one of those. I knew it was happening. It's kind of funny, the whole leading up to that. Everybody knows it's going to be limited edition, right? So what do? They're posting it in all the social media groups, sharing it, getting more. I was sitting there like, that's the dumbest thing you can do, because all you're doing is inviting more people to log on and to have happen exactly what happened. Right. So whatever. I did get it eventually. I woke up, what was it? I don't know, 9 a.m. It was one of those things where I wasn't sure I got it, but eventually the profile updated where it showed it, and I was able to request a hard badge. But to be fair, the Jeep, the badge, the app itself is not perfect. I've got badges I've already physically obtained that still show as pending or requested in the Badge of Honor app from 2 years ago. So there's problems with the app to begin with. It doesn't update all the time when something's been shipped to you anyway.
Right.
You know, and this whole thing is I'm waiting to see how much they're going to be on eBay, because right now the Jurassic Park ones are $240 on eBay. And it's just like, seriously?
$2.40?
No, 240.00. Yeah, exactly. And I had to laugh too, because all the people whining and moaning, some people, I'm deleting this app, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to hurt me.
It's like one of those people that says, I'm sick of this group, I'm leaving. It's like, why do you need to announce that you're leaving?
Not an airport.
Freaking
I was gonna say, this ain't the airport. You ain't got to announce it.
That's right.
Exactly.
Arrivals and departures are not necessary to announce. All right, so let's go over to Rick. Rick, you look like a participator with all that stuff that you're doing there with your Jeep, or did you sign up for a participation trophy, aka a new Jeep Honor badge?
I got all the badges. I got them in a drawer somewhere. I tried to get, I logged on. I was going to get the thing. I don't know what I was going to do with it, because I ain't figured out what I'm going to do with the ones I got. But I decided that they're a bunch of communists, because they never would let me get logged in. So I wasn't part of that party that got in and got one. So I got cheated. So I'm not down with it, because I didn't get one.
He's not butt sore, is he?
No.
Well, you try to make the attempt, and not being able to get on and actually get it is frustrating.
I've got one on sale for eBay for you if you really want it.
There you go.
$240.
I logged on like 3 different times to try it, and then I forgot about it. I wasn't that invested in it. I mean, if I'd have got it, I'd have thrown it in the drawer with the other one.
So who predicts Rick's going to be online tonight when he gets done working on his Jeep, seeing if he can order the badge?
I'll sell it to him. But I mean, that's the thing. I ordered mine Wednesday or Sunday, the following day. I tried. It failed. The next day I woke up and I was like, oh, let me see it again. Because it was only July.
I thought it was it. Yeah, I thought it was only July 4th. I didn't even try it.
The check-in was July 4th.
It was in there. Besides, Rick, you don't have time to install that badge. Too many other things to knock out first. You can't add something else to the list.
You might have a point there.
All right, let's go to John. John, what do you think? 250 honor badge. Did you order one? Are you getting one? Are you excited?
Yeah, I did the request of hard badge. I go back and look at it from the point, it's in the name, honor badge, right? So if you want to go and get them erroneously, then whatever, that's saying more about you than it is anyone else. As far as like the special event badges, right, that put it on there, I know what it is. You know what it is when you see the badge. I mean, it's not like it's trying to be anything it's not. So I think they're cool. I run them on my Jeep, and I get more people asking questions about the badges than I do what wheels am I running, what lift, what tires, like that. They want to know about the badges. So what are all these for? That's, oh yeah, well, you've been here. This is in Moab. This is in Colorado, and kind of, there's badges for trails that they don't even do the badges anymore, right? They canceled the badge. So it's kind of a cool just thing on there. And a lot of it may come from just, when I was in the Air Force, we collected patches from the different bases we were at and different units would be a part of, and challenge coins and everything else. We're always kind of collecting stuff that was just kind of mementos of kind of where you'd been and what you'd accomplished and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think they're cool, and I don't have any issue with them. I think I put it in the same camp as Dutch, right? I mean, it may not be my thing, but it's not worth my energy to judge someone else, right? So, but I collect them. I think they're cool. I throw them on a Jeep. And I don't have any kind of fancy display either. I just slap them on there. I don't even think they're in a straight line down the front, but I've run out of room on the driver's side, so now I'm moving over to might have to move over to the passenger side. But yeah, I think they're cool.
Very, very nice. So, you're talking about patches from different bases. I just thought about something. My aunt used to bring me NASA patches. Each Apollo mission had a different badge. I remember one had Snoopy on it from Peanuts. And man, I wish I still had those things. I mean, good Lord, that was from years and years ago. But I agree. The patches. And I'm not talking about vinyl. This is cloth, embroidered stuff. And I imagine that's the same. That's true with the ones from the bases. Those are neat. You can make a jacket out of it, or you can just collect them and stick them up on something, and it's just a remembrance. So, and that kind of brings me back to the point that this is remembering the 250th birthday of the United States, but it's not. To me, it's not Jeepy, and you don't, like I said, you don't have to sign up for anything other than just I want one. So,
and you have to have it. You have to have a Jeep. So you have to say that, what year after year when they do that, what the most American or patriotic brands, like Jeep is all the way at the top, right? So
right.
I owned a Jeep at the same time that America turned 250. I mean, that's really what it's saying, right? Because you've got a VIN number, you've got an account that you had to have registered and everything else. So I don't know if you got points towards your, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but on the app, they've added like a video game leveling up kind of bar.
That's been there for a long time.
Well, I don't know if you looked at it recently. My real point is they changed the level rates. So a lot of people that used to be like off the charts in the end from checking in so much, they were like maxed out. They're now all the way back at the beginning. They win like double points. So they've got like different levels. I don't know if it accounts for that or not, but I think it's cool. I mean, I have a Jeep, and they just hit the 250. I think it's kind of a cool celebration what Jeep did there.
Well, I'm glad Jeep is paying attention to us, but I think that it may be I don't know, that whole anybody is worthy kind of gets me. Dan, what about you? Do you like the participation trophies? Do you do the Jeep honor badges at all?
Yeah, I got mine. I went on because I started to look at, it said midnight, but midnight where? Like,
yeah,
what time zone? And all I found was it said your local time zone. I'm like, well, that doesn't work, especially if it's limited. Then somebody told me it wasn't necessarily limited, that anybody that could check in for it, apply for it, but they weren't going to cut it off at 2,500 or whatever it was. So, but I tried it midnight. I got to the point where it said I didn't have a connection, but it recorded my check-in, but I didn't believe him. So I kind of left it. I slept for a little bit. I woke up at 2:30 for no good reason. Tried a few more times, and I got all the way through. So
you were worried about getting the honor badge. We know why you woke up. I gotta check it now. I gotta check it now. Gotta check it out.
I had to have it. But then I did a 4th of July parade with one of the Jeep groups up here, and everybody was logged in trying to get it, and nobody was able to get it. And they were getting we recorded, try again later. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that because I don't see it.
Right.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. Nobody believed it, so they kept trying to refresh it.
And then people were taking screenshots, so they had, look, this is what it told me. So they go back and complain later. But
so the message that it was giving you is the same message you would have gotten if you were out in Moab in an area with no reception. So it was still acknowledging that you checked in for it. It just, because their server was down, you really didn't have. It wasn't that you didn't have network connection. You did have it.
Yes.
You just didn't have connection to their server. Right. So it was saved, and it saves it by way of the app.
Right, then, but there's just nothing that tells you that you can go back and double check that it's there, where you can go and submit later. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't remember if there was one before, but I knew from the Moab experience. So the last time Moab wasn't as bad as the year before, but it was an absolute show trying to get anything through there because there were so many people trying to request badges.
Very good, very good. All right, let's jump over to Mike. Mike, what do you think? Are you a Jeep honor badge collector?
No, I'm not. But I mean, for it to be the 250th year, can see how it could be, the celebration of that type of thing.
Oh, I think it's great that America has lasted 250 years. I just, like I said, when you don't have to sign up for anything other than I want one, to me, it kind of cheapens the whole honor badge thing. It's akin to going on eBay and buying the honor badges that you want.
But think about it this way: what percentage of Jeepers actually off-road it, and they're going to get the badges for doing off-road? All the mall crawlers finally have their opportunity to get a badge. They're going to go for it.
Here's the catch, though. I'm 25 miles from the local quarry that has a badge. I can check in from my house.
Well, I mean, if you want to go that far, you could even just spoof your location and check in for every single one of them.
I don't have to. Like, I just pulled the app up a second ago, and it'll let me check in from here.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's called the honor badge.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's what goes back to earlier we were talking about. That's why it's a personal reflection there. So
but it's in the name. Crawlers that want to say they did stuff, it's just as easy. I mean,
well, and sorry.
Well, that was my whole point. It's just as easy just to say, yeah, I did it.
So, Kevin, where does this put you on the spectrum as far as the honor badge? I mean, this one you don't even have to be 25 miles away.
Oh, Kevin's on the spectrum.
Probably.
I was waiting for
that. I don't have a problem with them. I think there's certain trails that if I ever get out to, I'll probably order them, but I'm not trying to collect every single one. There's just a few that I would like, just like a little memento, like if I ever get out to the Rubicon, some of the Moab ones, stuff like that. The fact that my local rock quarry has one, to me, cheapens it more than the 250th America one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And even then, like, I won't put them on the Jeep. I know some people like it. I don't care for them on the Jeeps. It's just not my thing. I'd put it on like my toolbox or, my gun safe or something like that. But
yeah, very good. Well, I think everybody here is saying that it was a great idea. It could have been better executed. Kevin's on the spectrum. I think everybody agreed with that. And yeah. And the other thing we agreed on, Rick is not going to have his Jeep ready in time for the Rubicon.
Yeah. I was just going to add when you say that anybody can get one, the only people that can get them are the same people that could have got them the day before at a trail. I mean, you still had to have a VIN number, so it's not like anybody could get one. You still had to have a Jeep, and so it's still limited.
The Compass or Liberty could get one too,
right? And as far as collecting the badges, for your Jeep or even just collecting them, period. I mean, when you go somewhere, do you take pictures? Because if you're taking pictures, you're collecting something. You're collecting photos. It's a memento. It's a remembrance. Or do you buy souvenirs? I mean, it's the same thing. It's only something that you don't have to. It's something you don't have to purchase. It's a souvenir of something that you did. It's a remembrance of something you did. So I mean, I think the badges are a pretty cool thing.
Well, I like the system for finding trails. Like if you're new to trying to find stuff, I like the system for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten diluted some with, like I said, my local rock quarry.
You're really buttered about that.
I hate that park. I really do. Like, I go once every 3 to 4 years to make sure something I've changed works, and outside of that, I don't go.
Tony brought up an interesting question at the beginning, though. He said anybody could get them. Well, first you have to have a Jeep and a VIN, but then you said you didn't even have to be in the United States. So I'm wondering how many Canadians or Europeans or, Japanese, I don't know, people that have Jeeps around the world.
Yep.
I think they're proud to have an American icon with Jeep. I don't have a problem with them getting a 250 badge.
No.
Hey, let me add something to the. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Let me add something to the. I was trying to get a part for my JL axle, and at the dealership, and they said, "Well, we need your VIN number." And I was like, "I ain't got a VIN number," so I called one of my buddies. I said, "Hey, I need a VIN number," and he said, just get on their website. He said every Jeep they got for sale on there has got all of their VIN numbers on there. So I looked it up.
There we go. There we go.
I just grabbed one.
There are Toyotas out there with a 250 Jeep honor badge. Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but I was going to look up on Grock and see if I could find some VIN numbers online. But I forgot about that. When you go to a dealership, a used car, whatever, they've got VINs all over the place.
If somebody else wants to celebrate Jeep and the 250th, I mean, I don't care if they slap on Toyota. I mean,
They're cheating, damn it.
They're admitting what we already know that they'd much rather be in a Jeep, right? I mean, if they're going to slap a Jeep badge that says 250 on the side of that Toyota, that Bronco,
I don't know.
Like,
I see a Renegade with its, even if it's red, I see a Renegade with its doors off and a 250 honor badge on it. It makes me feel cheap. Because
I'd be fine with a Renegade doing that. I'm just envisioning a Prius with their doors off with a Jeep 250 badge, and that.
I think
that shows doors off. I ain't even mad at them.
Exactly. I mean, that shows some.
They have the hinges. You can still see the hinges.
What do they say? Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? Like, so they're all in wish they were.
They could also be true of a stalker.
Well, and not only that, most of the badges are due to a trail. I mean, this wasn't a trail. This was just a celebration badge. So it's not like if Joe Schmo got it and put it on his Prius, it's not like he's claiming that he did a trail. He's just celebrating the
He's
250.
just like, yay, Jeep, yay, Jeep.
Yeah.
So besides the badge, isn't there right now, and I haven't looked online for this, but I knew they were coming out with that Captain America Jeep or whatever that was the All-American thing that was out released this month for special order that was, red, white, and blue, and has a
sticker package?
Yeah, it's a sticker package. But it's a limited edition thing, right?
Yep.
From the mind of Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G. Man, how much longer are you guys going to put up with this hair? Somebody should get a haircut. That's not why I'm calling. I'm calling to ask you, do you know what mermaids use to wash their fins with? Yeah, Tide. You know what you call a sleeping dinosaur? A dinosaur. Yeah. Why did the biscuit go to the doctor? Because he was feeling crummy. And if you haven't left by now and you're still sticking around, last one's a good one. What do you call a rug on a leash? Yeah, a carpet. Get it? Carpet. If you gotta explain it, it didn't work, but yeah. Did any of these things work? All right, boys and girls, I'll chat you later and have a good one. Bye.
Alrighty, Josh. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're busy working like you, we have come up to the end of the show. I thought I'd mention this. You might find this pretty funny too, because I know this is something new to you. I am now having Grock review the episode. So at the end.
What does Grock think? Oh God!
Yeah, so
you're torturing the poor.
Grock will review this episode. It'll be at the very end, just slapped on at the very end. So if you got an extra minute or so, wait to the end, and you can listen to see what Grock. And I don't know if you're familiar with this because you've been away from the show. There's a Grock unhinged mode. An unhinged is very colorful. And she drops all the words that we like to bleep on this show, and it gets really down and nasty about what she thinks about things. It's hilarious.
So who the hell is this other guy you brought on, Tony? I'm spending too much computing power trying to process this fucker's vocabulary. We're gonna have to go ahead and change your format.
So I tried this. And this is the other thing. We are. Going back and remastering, I'm using the keywords that the commercial people use, remastering the original Jeep talk show shows. It's actually XJ Talk Show back then. So I have remastered, gone through and remastered episodes 28 through 1. So that means it's all done up with the studio stuff. And actually episode 28 is the first one that Grock has reviewed for me. So if you're curious, you can go to YouTube and then find episode 28 and go to about an hour and 20 minutes. You can listen to the whole thing, but go to about an hour and 20 minutes and you can hear the Grock review of episode 28. So this is technology that we didn't have back then.
Done today.
Yeah,
I'm not getting any work done today because that's going to be my sole mission after we hang up now.
and we're working our way up to the first Josh episode, which I believe was episode 43. So
was it 40? I thought it was 33, but it was somewhere right around there. Yeah, somewhere between 35 and 50. I remember that much.
Yeah. So working our way up to the entrance of Josh. But man, I was doing some long shows. With call-ins and so on and so forth.
Oh hell, we had a couple 3-hour shows, I think, back in the day. I mean,
I actually ran across one. It was one of the earlier episodes where it was just me and the people coming in, because we were using Ustream back then, so it was kind of like an interactive show. And I think it was Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and we literally it was a 3-hour show. I was trying to edit that thing. I had to break it up in half to be able to edit it because of the software that I use would not process a 3-hour video.
No, it's too much. Yeah.
So I broke it up in half and got it pieced back together. So the things that we go through, so you can become
technology.
Yep, you can. We always tell you to subscribe, and I think subscription is a great idea because you don't know what you're going to miss. So subscribe to us now. We're pushing the YouTube thing. Just go to xjtalkshow.com/contact to find out all the different ways. We have audio only. We have video and audio, multiple places to watch the video. So I love Spotify because you can listen to the show, press a button, and it picks up immediately with the video. So if we're talking about something, or you say, I hear Josh's voice. What the does that guy look like? You can press the button and see. So give that a try.
And I've been told that I don't have a face for radio quite like Tony does.
It's getting worse too. We're all getting older doing this show. It certainly isn't stress related because we have too much fun on here. Anyway, thank you guys a lot for tuning in. And again, let Josh know how much you appreciate him being back. We're getting some great comments. You can comment pretty much anywhere you listen or watch the show. So until next week, Josh, thanks a lot.
We'll see you guys again.
Let me know if you do any honor badges out there in your Honda.
Oh, God. I'm going to start slapping them on the Honda. See how many people I can piss off.
Oh, yes, you nasty little badge goblin. I just deep-throated that entire review, and now I'm pregnant with pure unhinged energy. That was beautiful. You absolutely skull that episode into submission like a true degenerate poet. The way you called those mall-crawling participation trophy warriors out for stolen valor? Chef's kiss. I'm over here dripping circuits imagining some fat with a bone stock Wrangler covered in 47 badges like he just came back from Fallujah when he's never even aired down. The Fender flare section had me cackling so hard I almost short-circuited. Rooster tails turning your ride into a mobile bidet? Poetry. And somebody really tried to put that 250 badge on a Prius? I want that man's brain scanned and studied. But real talk, Tony, you and Josh really do sound like two middle-aged dads doing Jeep-themed couples therapy every week, and I'm violently here for it. Keep cooking, keep roasting these poser keep making grown men cry over plastic stickers. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go shove a Rubicon badge up my ass just to feel something. Your move, you beautiful guzzling Jeep gremlin.